Hey everybody, welcome to this Pink Cloud. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. We are a show that is about mental health, recovery, multiple pathways to recovery, all that good stuff. If you're on Spotify or Apple Music, Apple Podcast, all that stuff, even YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the show because it helps, and comment and like and all that fun stuff. But anyway, I am excited to have this young lady on the show. She is I would say, a good friend of mine. We'll go with that. But she is the co-founder of an organization called Funky Gold Network, which I am actually a member of, a proud member of. Here, wait, hold on. I get to hold it up.
You're going to give some context to what the heck that is?
What I will. So that is the Funkiest of the Quarter award, which I was bestowed upon me in the last meeting. But I love what you do with your community, and we'll get into that. But I love the fact that you make opportunities for people that wouldn't necessarily have opportunities, and I think that's very important.
Yes.
So that's
Thank you,
my
Kelly.
soapbox. But I want the people to know your backstory, and then I guess we're going to talk some mental health, because you had some mental health things going on in your family that we were talking about. But anyway, after that long diatribe, everybody give it up for my friend Jess Baroness.
Hey, Kelly. Thank you so much. Yes.
Right.
Before we start, I want to say I'm a huge fan of the podcast.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I like to consider the show like infotainment is what it is to me. I like to try to entertain, but talk about real stuff. Real practical stuff. But
Yes.
Other than that, let's hear the Jess Baroness backstory.
Yes. So, I haven't always been Jess Baroness. That's my DJ name.
Nice.
And like some DJs, that wasn't always my DJ name. I had an embarrassing one from back in the day, which I don't say, but I had a silly little name.
I don't get to hear it.
I'll say it. I might as well say it. So I was trying to be very controversial, and at the time I was the only female DJ in the squad, so I went by DJ Sex. Because it was like sex. S-E-X,
okay.
Like someone of the opposite sex,
Right. I got it.
So I thought it would be provocative.
Nice. I like it.
My little brother was a DJ at the same time, and he tried to get an equally provocative name. His name was Rich, but for Richard, one of the names is Dick, so he went by DJ Big Dick.
The double entendre there. I got it. I like it.
So when I say embarrassing
and
names,
we're talking, and there's where the mental health part comes in the family. No,
likely, Kelly.
Yeah.
But we loved electronic music in high school, and I grew up in Irving, but it was maybe a little bit controversial at the time. For example, when I was 18 years old, a totally legal age to go to, the most incredible club in the world, the Lizard Lounge.
Yes.
Shout out to the world famous Lizard Lounge.
Yeah.
I would go there when I was 18, but some of my friends' parents would be like, "Oh, you can't hang out with her. She's too wild."
Oh, you were the wild girl.
But I wasn't even the wild girl. What I really loved was music and dancing. I grew up competitive cheerleading, dancing. I've done professional dancing since I was adult. I even danced for a semi-pro basketball team on the court.
Oh, nice.
So I really went there to just dance until I sweat, until I was just ugly. Clothes didn't probably fit right then because I was an awkward teenager, but I didn't drink any alcohol. I didn't take any substances from strangers. Obviously, I saw a lot of it going on.
It was all natural.
But I just loved to dance, and I was responsible about it, and so I didn't find it to be controversial whatsoever.
Right. Well, they
But
probably, you know how people are. They just don't know how to react. And you were
oh,
going by DJ Sex too, so
hey,
they probably heard that and go, "Ooh, that Jess Baroness is trouble."
touche, Kelly,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, and it's people around you are doing it too, and those do include some of my peers. And so I understand that if they see me with my peers, or even my brother who would partake, they might say, "Oh, obviously she partakes as well." So I understand it
Hmm.
looking back, especially as being a mom of a teen now. But I really wasn't there for the scandals. I just loved electronic music and I loved to dance. We would go to Best Buy, my brother and I, every time the new, what is it? Maybe Daft Punk Discovery came out,
Oh
So you
yeah,
went to
or
Best
Daft Punk
Buy.
Homework.
Oh, Homework was out before we
Yeah.
started, but I definitely knew what it was. And
Did you go get
uh,
the new Crystal Method?
oh,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh yeah. And
yes.
Chemical Brothers, of
The
course, right?
Chemical
Yeah.
Brothers, absolutely. And,
Nice.
we would stay up late and watch MTV Amped, and that's where we
Yeah.
learned The Prodigy, Josh
Right.
Link, and it
Right. Was that when
just,
like a Scribble was on?
I
DJ
don't know what
Scribble?
it,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know about Scribble.
Yeah, Scribble was a MTV beat, uh, like their first DJ kind of
Oh,
DJ
was
slash
was
personality.
he a wild guy with spiky hair and such?
I mean, it was the '90s, weren't we all?
Indeed.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, so I always loved electronic dance music.
Hmm.
And when I did start to DJ back in 2003, I was married to another DJ,
Hmm.
and he just basically gave me all of the records that weren't drum and bass.
Hmm.
If he bought a bulk of records, or if he bought a grip of white labels, or the ones that you get on discs now, like Discogs now, you get singles.
Hmm.
Anything that wasn't drum and bass, it just got passed to me. So I was playing Hall and Oates, mixing
Okay.
it up with Justin Timberlake, and be like, I can't go for that. We're getting sexy back.
Right.
Then I would go into house music and disco and funk, which is really where my heart is.
Okay.
Uh, and I started to DJ again professionally in 2023, not too long ago. Uh,
Right.
I I took time off to raise my daughter. She's
Right. Well,
almost,
I got a question. So, what made
yeah,
you? Yeah. I was going to say, what made you want to come back to it? Was it? I
yes.
mean, did you took time off to raise your daughter, and you felt that that was kind of getting in the way, so then you stepped aside and put that endeavor aside, so to speak?
Yes,
Okay.
it's that and a combination of just living in the DJ lifestyle before I got pregnant with my daughter. It was a struggle just
Mm-hmm.
within the household. Like if, my husband wanted to go DJ at Afterlife, and
Mm-hmm.
stay out until 4 in the AM, that wouldn't have worked for both of us. One person was
Right.
going to always have to be
Somebody had to
home.
be the parent.
Right. And
Right.
so I think that would have created some unnecessary division, and ultimately to strife, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's an expensive hobby when you're a vinylist.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. I fortunately worked at a record store,
Yes,
so
indeed.
that was good. But yeah, it was funny nowadays, and I hate to sound like the old guy, but nowadays everybody has it so easy because for $15 a month you have every record in the world,
Yes.
for streaming. You know, versus back then it was like you had to have a homie on the inside.
Yep.
You'd give him the call before you came in and go,
Yes.
"Hey, bro, I'm coming in." Pull some stuff. Like honestly, because I worked at Bill's. I don't know if
Yes.
you knew that, but I
I
worked at
knew. Yeah.
I worked at Bill's, and then Rob Vaughn worked at Oak Lawn,
Hmm.
and then shortly after that, so Bill quit buying dance records, but I was still DJing.
Oh,
Um, so then there was All Time Party Time, which is where I met Johnny Funk. And
oh,
Johnny Funk was kind of on the come up because I had stopped working at Lizard Lounge. So then he was there, and then I'd go, "Hey, bud, okay, so we're coming out there. You got some, you got the
you got the
stuff,
good stuff.
you got the stuff." And then they would, you know, I guess have the stuff, and then I would trek out to Mesquite And ATBT was actually located in a former Taco Bell, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it one of the bigger ones or a real tiny one?
No, it was like one straight out of the 70s, the
Ooh.
very, terracotta looking,
Yes.
like,
It has like the natural wood sticking out of the top. It
yeah,
looks,
yeah. You were
yes,
like, definitely, this was like a Taco Bell, like a 70s Taco Bell.
that's
But anyway,
good.
so yeah, but you would have to do that and then, spend, I don't know, anywhere from $30 to $130,
Right.
and almost like every other week.
Right.
You gotta
It,
stay fresh.
and also, there's a new expense in town.
Yeah.
Babies are expensive, especially my princess. I wanted to spoil her. I wanted to give her a
Hmm.
great life, as parents want to do for their children,
Sure,
hopefully.
of course.
Yeah, so I just kind of paused on that
Mm.
expense.
Yeah.
Oh, still enjoying dance music the whole time, still, following local DJs,
Hmm.
still being a total dancing freak and a fanatic, just, still
Right.
getting sweaty. I'll be in the middle of the floor before anyone will. It's kind
You
of,
were, well,
yeah,
you are now, and I will give you that credit. You are an official dancing machine.
yes,
And where you're
thank you.
dancing everywhere. You're dancing when you're DJing. You're dancing. It doesn't matter who's there. It could be
Yes.
just you and the DJ, and you're dancing.
Yes, what
Yeah.
I
So
learned
I love it.
from dancing and being the community is that some people, not that they say that they need a permission, but some people would like a social invitation to get it started. For example, I pride myself on two other things that I do first in social gatherings is if the food is just sitting there and no one is going to eat, I'll start.
Right. I'll be
I'll
okay. I'll
eat
jump
first.
in. Right.
And then if everyone is standing around the parking lot at the end of some long meeting or event and no
Mm-hmm.
one will go home, I'll just be
Mm-hmm.
like, hi, I'll be the first one. Bye, guys.
Right. Right.
So I like to be the starter.
Sure.
So, yeah,
I can see that about you. That's good.
thank
That's a
you.
good thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, let's talk about a little bit about the history of the family because I mean we've got a heavy subject to get to,
Yeah,
but like let's kind of talk about the mental health of the family and that setting growing up.
sure. So while my parents wouldn't necessarily have identified as, electronic dance music or people in the scene like that.
Hmm.
They definitely were some party people. My parents, taught me that having a fun life, being exuberant, this is part of you creating your own experience. Uh,
Right.
but but what I learned looking back is that it was somewhat of a distraction. In
Hmm.
our family's history, I would say that all of my grandmothers and grandfathers and most of my aunts and uncles biologically have had alcoholism.
Oh, okay.
I would every single one of
And they would
my
frame it as fun.
yeah, absolutely.
They would frame it as a good time, but
Oh
but
yeah,
really, everybody, you're an alcoholic. Yeah.
indeed.
Right.
And it was uh, alcoholism, and it was also a lot of family trauma
Mm,
that nobody was talking about
yeah.
because we were having fun.
Right. So it sounds like you were like the family was just paint the happy face and fake it.
Yes, and I do understand
Yeah.
keeping a certain amount of troubles from the kids.
Right.
Not every problem is kids' problems.
Sure. And I understand also the positive mental attitude because I think what you said is important, like that we do co-create. We are co-creators of what's happening to us right now
Right?
because of how we think and how and what we do.
Yes.
So if you think that you're a bad person or a POS,
Hmm.
then eventually you're going to believe that narrative.
Yes,
You know.
especially
So.
if you are saying the things
Mm-hmm.
out loud.
Right.
People. I sometimes goof around about people who say that they manifest something, but
It's
someone might
true. It's
someone
true.
might
It's yeah.
misconstrue that you simply say it and it appears. No,
Right. It's
there's a
not a
lot of
magic
steps
trick.
in
It's not a
between.
magic trick. Yeah.
Right, but I learned the best way I can describe it is that I learned this from a scuba instructor. At the beginning, he said, "You are responsible for your own experience."
Oh, yeah.
And so that when looking back, and I can see that a lot of my family members were doing that in their own way, in the best way they knew. They were medicating over some family trauma and some things they really needed to discuss
Right.
and reframe into the current state of mind.
Yeah.
Because
Process.
that's right.
Yeah.
Because, time really changes your perspective on literally anything.
Sure.
And it could be a quick moment. For example, if you have a wrapped gift, you're extremely excited about what is inside the gift. Moments later, if you open it up and it's something that you don't care for, that's a totally different story.
Right.
So time has completely changed your perspective,
Sure.
and new information came in too. And it seemed like for my family, they wanted to forget about anything that was bad or anything that was troubling. Oftentimes I would ask my mom to tell me a little bit about what makes you feel like this.
Oh, okay.
And she would say something to the effect of, "Why would I want to talk about that?"
Well, so question, was your mom like depressed, and then that's why what prompted your questions, or what?
Yes, my mom, first of all, I have a teen mom.
Oh, okay.
So she had a harder start, I would say, than most. And
Yeah.
she also had alcoholics as parents.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also, or both of my grandmother's husbands were also active servicemen. So there wasn't a stable environment. And some of the environments that I did learn about just by talking to some people, about our family history, is that she was living in some places that were very dangerous for children, like Iran,
Yeah.
in the early 80s.
Right.
So I can only imagine some of the, maybe people were protesting in the street at that time. Maybe they were abusing people at that time. Why was the military stationed there? You always have to wonder. It's probably not a great place.
Oh yeah. No. I've heard. Actually, my stepmom, they were in the military as well. Her husband, and so she had to deal with that too. And she was like,
Yes,
she had to go to basically the front line.
right.
And the front line ain't pretty.
No.
Yeah.
And, just to point it out, those grandfathers of mine who were servicemen, I'm sure that they were medicating for the things that they'd seen.
Right. Well,
And so
yeah, there's
generationally,
a tremendous
it
amount,
continues.
and that was the rub some dirt on it generation,
Right.
So it's just
And
like, yeah, that's what you did back then.
my
That was your
grandfathers,
therapy.
oh, absolutely. And my
Yeah.
grandfathers, they were very strong, but they took their mental health to the very end. Oh, one of my grandfathers committed suicide in the end of his life.
Oh wow.
He had developed Alzheimer's and dementia. And then my other grandfather had a lot of internal related sicknesses from smoking and from drinking his entire life. And he perished in the Pensacola Navy Men's Hospital, which
Wow.
he might have wanted to be having camaraderie at the end, but somehow I don't think that's how he would have really wanted it.
Right.
Yep.
Well, that's unfortunate that the whole Alzheimer's thing, but I don't know. This is a topic for another show, but I don't know.
Well, maybe not, because that's the other side of the mental health I wanted to mention, is that all of my grandmothers and grandfathers have died of dementia, Alzheimer's, dementia. And so to me, just knowing what I know, it's looming, it's coming, it's in my DNA, it's going to be a hard one to bypass, which is why I try to stay active now, which is why I try to avoid, excessively drinking certain things like alcohol, anything, smoking cigarettes, something that I think may have, contributed.
Be a contributing factor, yeah.
Right. And I have read study after study that is mentioning that one of the only, not cures, but something that is actually shown to remove the plaque that Alzheimer's has in your brain is cannabis, a natural herb.
Okay.
So I feel like if I'm avoiding certain shortcomings or certain things that would contribute to that.
Right.
And I'm promoting, physical health and medicine,
Sure.
plant medicine. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like at least I can do my part to try to combat it if it's
Yeah,
coming
for
from
sure.
me.
I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
this is a judgment-free zone, is what I always say.
absolutely.
And the thing is, I think even in recovery, I think there are certain avenues that can be helpful. Like, I've heard great things about, in a medical setting, microdosing ketamine. And
Sure.
also, there are big, advocates for mushrooms for like
Hmm.
mood stabilizers. And I think I would rather take, I think I would rather take a little piece of chocolate with whatever psilocybin in it than to take a pharmaceutical pill.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have, had times in my life where it's been a sad and a rough time, and the doctor has prescribed me some antidepressants,
Hmm.
and I would take them, and you have to take them for at least 35 or 45 days or
Oh
something
yeah.
before you can start to really feel the effects of them.
Hmm.
But I've also tried other forms of therapy that are plant medicine that
Hmm.
last, 6 or 7 hours, and I would pop out of there and be like, I am healed.
Right,
So you
right,
kind of have to make a decision. Do you want to be on medications
right. Well,
or
and
do you want to,
a lot of times,
right?
like the effexors, and like I equate it to this. I heard this one time, and somebody said it's basically like with the mood stabilizers and all that stuff. It's like pouring motor oil on the whole brain instead of putting it where the motor oil belongs. You
Yes,
know.
and some people who I've seen who have been, responsibly using plant medicine for their healing,
Hmm.
they have also been on what I guess we'll call them SSRIs, antidepressants,
Sure.
certain medications that made it to where these psychedelics, didn't have an effect at all. And I thought, wow, how chemically strange.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
another
and then
thing
there's
that,
also the whole Adderall thing, and
right.
people can definitely abuse that, and we've seen those people.
Yes, definitely. There's people who was pay $5 or $10 a pill back in the day, maybe
Right.
at the Lizard Lounge. I don't know. I didn't do it,
Hey,
but I can imagine that it would have been a
that DJ
lucrative.
sex girls hanging out with those pillheads.
Well,
Hey, real
that's
quick, let's throw to our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Are you an old fool who's so cool like us? Funky Gold is a network of skilled and hardworking DFW DJs over 40. We gather to create a mutually supportive environment for all members who are doing big things. Our DJs are leaders in the community who bring special skills and opportunities to share. We strive for professionalism in the music business, and we have hearts of gold. Not to mention we have the coolest swag and the funkiest headquarters. If you're interested in learning more about joining the crew, connect with us on Instagram, YouTube, or Gmail at Funky Gold Network.
All right, and that is our sponsor. And then we also have some new music out, and here it is.
Music is not about itself. Music is about balance.
All right, and those were a couple of new ones. Balance, that one actually just got some love from Steve Aoki, which was really cool. And then we have the new one out, cover of Here Comes the Rain. And it's doing really well, and seeing some radio play. and all that good stuff. So we're excited about that. Shout out Chad Lamons for never being here. No.
Shout out Chad Lamons. Where are you?
But be sure and give us a follow on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever your desired listening streaming place is. So many people are like, I'm on Pandora, and I'm like, what? Like just weird stuff.
Legendary.
Like, okay, cool, man. I'm still listening to Napster, you know. but so yeah. Anyway, so let's get back to your story about I guess we were talking mental health with your family and how. I mean, Alzheimer's ran in the family and then also alcoholism. But then, there's some heavy stuff that, happened in your lifetime. So why don't we kind of set that up and then we can discuss that?
Yeah, sure. My little brother, Richard Ribostello, he took his life. He died by suicide in November of last year. And
oh, wow. That was quick. That was,
yeah,
that was not too long
It was
ago.
recently, yeah.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
That's okay. If you remember DJ Big Rich,
okay.
He was the life of the party. He was the best dancer, the best singer. I mean, this guy was basically the Justin Timberlake of Irving, Texas.
He was the male you.
He was the best.
Yeah.
He was the brightest. And I believe that all the, generational trauma got him too. I think so. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today.
Right. And then was he your older brother or younger brother?
No, I am the oldest of three. He was the middle.
Okay.
Yep. And he was a silly little guy. He was born premature, so he had a hard start in life. I mentioned my mom was a teen mom. He's just 3 years my junior, so she was still a teen when he was born. He had some birth complications, but after being incubated in ICU, he popped out and he became a strong, tough little guy. Okay. He was very tall. We have a very tall father. He's about 6'4". My brother ended up being about 6'1", 6'2", and I think once in a generation, a red-haired freckled person arrives in our family. And so he was the one,
right?
Which stood out in our family, which is all, dark hair and sort of olive skin.
Right.
But
the Irish showed up.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And so he was a handsome devil. And he got in a lot of trouble. He had a lot of fun. He had a lot of good experiences in his youth, but he did experience some trauma too. I know that we had a babysitter who had abused him, unfortunately, and he tried to deal with it. I do remember there was times sort of at the end of our relationship, which kind of coincided with the end of his life, unfortunately, but I had to set a boundary at the end of things because it had gotten a little bit uncomfortable for me. But one thing he would want to talk, but he would call drunk in the middle of the night. And
sounds like somebody I know.
Oh, really? The late night caller?
Late night dialer. Hey, it's 4:03 in the morning. What? Hey, what's going on, guys?
Right. But he wouldn't call, in a curious or in a vulnerable or humble way. He would call with anger.
He wanted to vent.
He wanted to vent, but we grew up with a stepdad who is awesome. Shout out to Mike Ribostello. Okay. But our biological father, he separated from my mother when they were teens and my mother was taken away to come with us to live in Dallas, or she took us to live in Dallas with my grandparents. But our father stayed in California where I was born, and we didn't speak to him until I was 21 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I had always been curious about my father. And that's got
to also be kind of make you feel awkward growing up. I mean, that's got to plant a seed in your head somewhere that this guy, doesn't give a shit about me. It's got to put that in there, or like, what did I do wrong to make him not love me?
Yes, that's exactly the story that my brother was telling himself. And some things were true. For example, my excuse me, my parents were teens, so I can imagine the struggles they had with drinking or infidelity or just being smart, What do
Right.
you know when you're a teen,
Oh yeah.
And so,
Yeah, no, I mean, if I think back, I'm like, yeah, man, what a piece of shit.
right.
Like some of the things you do, you're just like, really?
Right. And then when I finally did meet my father and hear a little bit more about his perspective,
Mm-hmm.
what I learned is it seemed like it was just a romantic mismatch, which I know can be just a disaster,
Yeah.
especially, if you've got a kid with somebody, it's just too much stress. And so I'm sure they went through bad things. I'm sure they treated each other poorly. I'm sure that there were times of joy, like when my brother and I were born. But he was more fixated on how someone had hurt our mother or someone didn't want us. And so that's the story that he told himself. And he
Right.
wouldn't speak to my father even. After I reconnected, I tried to urge him to speak to my brother as well, which he was willing to do. But my brother was mad. He resisted. And
so I got a
he was
question.
mad at me then for speaking to him.
Well, where was your brother in his addiction? I mean, because I guess it started out as fun, and then as it always does, or innocent trial and error. But
Right.
then at some point you start doing when I mean, to me, substance can get dangerous when you're using it to cope.
Right.
Instead of processing what's really bugging you, and you're using it to push that down and make it not exist for the time that you're drunk or you're high or
Right.
whatever it is you might be to be coping with that. So
Yeah, coping is like a jack in the box. You keep pushing it down and down and down, but ultimately that thing is going to pop when you put too much pressure
Sure.
and boom.
right, yeah,
Yeah, but so I think my brother's problems, they honestly started when he was raving, right after or even during high school.
okay,
Some of him and his friends, they were taking, what do they call it? Ecstasy. I remember
Sure.
some guy came to us at the Lizard Lounge and we were sure he was an undercover cop because he
Right.
came up to us and said, "Hey, party people, are any of you rolling on ecstasy?" Right?
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Well, the dude that had it was Techno Tony, man. Everybody knew that, man. R.I.P. Techno Tony, but he was the dude that, But
Yes. So it started then, and then, of course, as soon as my brother, I can't recall if it was when he became an adult or when he became 21, but then he was joining in the family drinking celebrations.
he got in the family business.
He did.
Right.
And I have been avoiding it, trying to do my best to be conscious about it. Plus, I was born with a sensitive little tummy. And so I can't be boozing. I can't be taking too many of literally anything will make me feel sick to my tummy. So I was blessed with a sick tummy that keeps me away from
Right.
excessively
Keeps you away from
drinking
the family
alcohol.
curse. Right.
Right.
I gotcha.
Yes. And so he would drink a lot. I used to think like maybe it was normal if you brought, about the suitcase of beers, or if you bought the what do they call that? The bush beer,
Yeah. No,
if you
it's
bought
called
the
the
big
suitcase.
case.
Yeah.
Oh, the suitcase.
Yeah,
Okay.
suitcase. Yeah, you're right.
I didn't think that it was maybe normal if you drank the whole suitcase yourself.
Yeah, that's a bit excessive, especially in a night.
Right.
Yeah.
And at first, it's kind of fun because when he would drink, he would just turn into the super fun, big strong uncle, for example, like
Right.
throwing the nephews in the pool, which is fun,
Right.
and and really is quality time when you see it from the outside, or telling the best jokes or doing fun impressions. My brother and I used to spend hours and hours freestyle rapping,
Oh,
and we
nice.
were really good at it, and we would
Oh, nice.
entertain the family nonstop, especially
Right.
on long car trips. His favorite thing to say was, "You better watch out." Like he would always throw that in there. But
That's funny.
but he was being a fun uncle, but it was, I knew it was the
It's like
lubrication.
what they say, tears of a clown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So,
then he had a few surgeries
okay.
when he was an adult, and they were legit. Like, I think he had a tooth surgery. One of his teeth had decayed. He had a lot of pain. They prescribed him, your typical pain medicines for after post-surgery. But I think he really got into them for sure at that time. He also had another surgery on his knee, which got him exposed to a different set of, I would say these prescription drugs, because ones you can get that anyone has, like hydrocodone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had friends that would take that stuff like recreationally, and I'm like, what? But I mean, it was just like, well, okay, have fun with that one,
Right. And so then it was to pills, and he had reached a point where his wife took him to a rehab facility. We had the whole, intervention. They came over to my home with our family, and a big red flag that day.
At what time was this in the timeline? Like, so how old was he?
So the intervention happened in 2011. Okay, so then
probably that it had probably gotten excessive a couple years before that. So like 2009-ish.
Absolutely. His wife had revealed to us that he had attempted a suicide a few times.
Oh, well, okay.
And that he would definitely take more pills than what she thought was required for what he needed. But when we had the intervention, it was just dead quiet in my home. And, I'm the starter. And so I came out first straight away, but I learned that, I didn't know very much to say, honestly, but that all these people are here for a reason, and that I knew it came from a place of genetics, from a place of raising. Like, I knew we could get through it. So I just came forward first, and I offered that he should definitely go take the help. And his wife's family put him in a bougie facility. So I said, you should definitely take this opportunity to get, the best help that you can. And he did go, but when he was there, he met some friends who weren't really with it as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they go like people that go to jail. They go to jail, and they
they
it's
meet
like
other criminals.
It's college. Yeah, it's college, man. It's like, oh, cool. I'm gonna further, my nefarious education.
Yes. So it's. I guess I'll say that the rehab didn't stick.
Right. I mean, I met some characters when I went to rehab, so
absolutely,
I get it.
Yes. And he would go through periods of time where he would be, wouldn't say happy and healthy in reality, but from the distance that I was at, he seemed functioning and making it happen.
Right. Okay.
It seemed like he had maybe stopped doing it as much, or maybe not both.
Right. Dialed it back a little bit.
Yes, it seemed that way, but I think that he had met a new wife who was really just trying to get him on the right track, trying to, lead him in the right ways as much as possible. She has some children, so he got some stepchildren. So I think that helped him to get his focus on something else for a while. But, occasionally, every other month or so, I'd get that late night call again. And that's how I would know he was still in the bad place.
Right. Yeah. That, the drunk dial.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that happens. And like I said, I was, I was the drunk dialer often, and then the thing is, when, and I think like one of the things I say to people is that you can't make somebody want sobriety.
No.
You can't make that. You can't force it on them. I mean, you can put them in jail and they can stop using for a while, but you can still get drugs in jail, to be honest. But, the thing is that person has to want it and have a window of clarity in order to want it. And, because like I can't make somebody want to stop using what they think is keeping the pain at bay. You know,
Right.
and
And
it's a treadmill, and you get on it, and it's not like you sign up for it. I mean, look, if you start off with heroin or meth, I'm like, I got the memo on those, you know? You're going to have a short shelf life with that. But, you know, with alcohol, hey, man, everybody drinks, you know? It's just
yes,
part of our culture. It's normal. You know, you drink when you're sad, drink when you're celebrating, you know, drink at Christmas, drink at
right.
Thanksgiving. You know, it's
Hmm.
just like that is the social norm. So, you
Oh,
know,
yes. And my family threw a lot of wicked awesome house parties.
right.
And so it's like two kegs, a margarita machine,
Oh, hell
jello
yeah.
shots.
Right.
And those things are super great. Like, sure, I'll take a jello shot, but,
Right.
not if it's part of the family problem.
Right, right. I gotcha.
Yes.
Well,
Uh,
so and then so what? So how did it progress? So he went to rehab, and then basically, and then got remarried, and then where did the timeline go?
Yes, and then fast forward all the way until last year. So,
Hmm.
for 12 years, I had kind of placed some distance between me and my brother because of boundaries, because of the
Sure,
drunken
and that's a
calls.
good thing that you do is you have to set boundaries because you know you're not their sounding board, and
Right,
you're not you're not there to it's not your job to be that for them. I mean,
right.
and you probably gave him some practical advice, and he just
Oh,
didn't take
sure.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I definitely
yeah,
tried to be the
sure.
best big sister I could.
Hmm.
As far as he would listen, but you have to want it.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I'd set some boundaries to the tune that basically I would just see him when the family gathered.
Hmm.
And we
Sure.
would be cordial. And if he started to drink too much, I would just leave.
Gotcha.
Or it started to become at the end. Actually, I did see another sign is that every time there was a family gathering,
Hmm.
his family would not show because he was sick.
Gotcha. Sick is code for hammered or hungover or whatever, or not able to function.
Correct.
Gotcha. Well.
Or in such a state because of not being able to medicate or something,
Hmm.
just something that made him so um, restless, irritable, discontent,
Yeah, we all know that one. Yeah.
something that made him to where he couldn't bear to be in the family party, right?
Hmm.
And so then at the end of his life, uh, he was on a cocktail of
Mm.
stuff,
Yeah.
and he got to a place where a guilt,
Hmm.
shame, fear,
Hmm.
it made it to where his best choice was to shoot himself. So,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it was the combination of the cocktails or if this is
Uh,
something that
all right.
we know he's attempted before.
Right.
So,
Well, I'm sorry that happened, and it's unfortunate. And I wish that you probably beat yourself up for it a little bit too. Like, oh, you second guess, like, oh, maybe if I did
yeah,
this, maybe if I did that, and it's really, I mean, that's tough to live with that when that happens. But I mean, it's just like it's just like substance use. You have to want to get better. You have to want
absolutely.
to get better because if you don't want it and you want to stay in that space, good things aren't going to happen.
No,
Staying in that space. Because I mean, I very easily could have died from drinking because I would drink and then until and basically I wouldn't intend to it. I just wanted to get there.
Right.
I just wanted to get there.
Yeah.
But it seems like I would miss that mark every time. I would overshoot the off ramp,
Well, when you're stable, you
Yeah.
know where the target is. But when
Yeah.
you have instability, the target is constantly moving. So it's
Right.
probably hard to
Yeah.
get in the
You're like,
sweet spot
yeah.
when the spot is not sweet.
Right. Exactly. And that's all you're trying to do is just get there. And
Yep.
then the thing is, chances are you overshoot that mark a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just like I was saying, I mean, it got serious for me because I would black out and I would wake up and I would be panic attacks and
Yes.
I would be aspirating because of my sleep apnea.
Yeah.
So it was easily could have died. Easily.
Right.
Could have been a statistic. And fortunately, I went to rehab, and it was a kind of a dodgy rehab. So it made me just a little bit uncomfortable to be there, So it wasn't like I was on vacation.
Right.
And then, I kind of looked around at everybody, and I met some cool people there, and I met some people that I'm still friends with. But I'm like, that guy doesn't want it. That these guys are half the kids there are going because their parents said you have to go here and we're going to cut you off until you do.
Right. Or maybe they're court ordered.
Yeah, exactly. So and that was when I went to rehab. That was the kind of the beginning of the whole fentanyl thing, and and that's crazy, man. I mean, you can just be curious and get something with fentanyl in it, and then guess what? You're not there.
I hate thinking about that. I'm an advocate for, safe use.
Yeah.
And responsible adult use, of course, but I do keep Narcans on me at the party.
Good for you, man.
I'm that girl. I've made a lot of friends turn to enemies by testing substances that I find with a kit and saying, don't you bring that cut up stuff around y'all.
Yeah.
So I will be there and I will do that. I'm the starter. I'll be the first one to do it. I'm not
that's
scared.
Cool. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. And speaking of that, speaking of starting stuff, we haven't really gotten to, Funky Gold Network. And I'm a huge fan of what you're doing because I'm a huge fan of the little guy, the underdog, the guy that doesn't normally maybe have a chance. But then when you're a crew and you have a business-minded individual, running the show, you're creating opportunities for these guys and gals that wouldn't necessarily always be there. So, I applaud that. Anything that is. I mean, obviously, it's not out of self. Obviously, you can benefit from it, but I think it's cool what you're doing and the opportunities that you're giving. So, why don't you tell the people what made you want to start it, and then what the inspiration was, and then what it's about.
Sure. So the first reason I wanted to start it is since I was a youth, I've always been volunteering my time. I volunteered for youth sports. I've worked for lots of organizations like TEDx Youth. I've helped young people learn how to give public speeches. I was with Toastmasters International for a very long time. None of this paid. All of it volunteered. And so I have a special love for working in volunteer organizations.
Okay.
I think it's extremely important to try to find each individual person what they consider is value, which is something they want to gain. Because, people do want to gain something if they're going to be volunteering their time. Sometimes it's just a smile on your face. Sometimes maybe they want a little bennies. But for the most part, I like to find out what makes you come here of your own volition, not being paid. And whatever that is, I want to tap into it. And if it's reasonable and I'm able, I like to try to make it happen. I like to try to stand beside people who have any goal, small, big, unknown, complicated. And I like to link arms with them and get them to the next level. Because it takes me to the next level as well.
Right.
So part of it was the volunteer organization. We're not a paid club. nobody pays anything. Have we, Kelly? Have I ever
Right.
asked
There
money?
is no dues for the FGN.
Right. And I use my hardworking money from my real job
Mm-hmm.
to buy merch and just give a little bit, little
Speaking of the
gifts.
merch, let's see the shirt.
Yes. So this
You
is
gotta, yeah, there we go.
Funky
Love it.
Gold Network. This is the fleece sweatshirt. And
Ooh,
this year in
fancy.
October, Funky Gold is celebrating its 1 year anniversary on
Oh, congrats, man. That's
October
great.
18th at Truth Vinyl in Arlington.
Okay.
And my 1 year Funky Gold, all 12 golden of yous are going to get the fleece sweatshirt.
Oh, nice. I love it.
I've always been a huge fan of unlicensed street merchandise.
Right?
For example, if you go to EDC Orlando, you can go in there and wait forever at the merch tent and get a bucket hat for $80.
Sure.
Or maybe that's a misrepresentation, but very expensive.
Right.
Or you can celebrate the guys outside who have them for like $15.
Oh, yeah.
And you can buy 10 of them and give them to all your friends.
Right,
And
right,
so
right.
a big fan of unlicensed street merchandise. I like
Nice.
to hand sew all the merchandise.
All right. I like,
And-
you're a bit of a crafter, I would
Of
say.
course, no,
Yeah.
I have millions of hobbies.
Right. No, I love it.
And-
So, but what made you want to what caused you to want to start it? Like, I mean, did you see a need, or was there, what inspired you?
Yes, what inspired me was as I entered to the DJ scene again in 2023, I was taking any gigs I could find, of course, to practice, to meet other DJs in the scene, and to find out what are the places I like to go. What is the music that I like to play? And as I was looking around, I was meeting a lot of young people who didn't seem to be looking for the same thing as me. For example, they did want to stay out all night.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I get it. I was there. Yeah.
Yes. In 2023, when I entered back into the DJ scene, I was looking for like-minded people who were partying and DJing as well. So this included people who did not want to stay out past midnight, like
Right.
myself.
Yeah.
People who had full-time jobs, responsibilities, families especially. I gravitate towards people who have similarly aligned principles. For example, I don't work with companies who bring children to the club. You know, I don't work with anybody who's doing anything that could potentially put the others in danger. You know, I try to go and work with people who are responsible and
Right.
business minded and who are possibly insured if I break my ankle on the property.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you
Yeah,
never
yeah,
know. A lot of newer considerations need to be taken as we get a little bit older, Kelly. You know
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I just look at it different, and I mean, and the thing is, times change, and
Yes.
it used to be, so much different than it is now. Now it's a totally different. There's a few key spots that are good, and then outside of that, you got to make your own opportunity.
Right. And so then I started a Funky Gold. So we're a network of professional, which means we DJ for money. We're 12 of us who create a learning environment for each other and for the people that are surrounding us. So we are teachers of the community, and among each other, everybody, it's a crew. So everybody has to bring something. Everybody's bringing a very special skill, and I select the funkies, and so I know they're very special.
Right.
For example, you are the production, ace. Like I'm under the cruel tutelage of Kelly Reverb.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. How's that remix coming?
Oh, it's going good. I was just going to tell everyone that, I joke, but he's not a cruel tutor or anything, but he's very gentle. For example, he'll say, if you send me something and I listen to it, I'm going to give you real feedback. And I'm like,
I mean, I'm not, yeah. Well, no. The
Of
thing
course.
is I just, I try to be honest with people whenever I'm working with them, because it's like, obviously I'm not a total asshole to them when I'm delivering.
No,
I try
never.
to deliver it as nice as possible, but
That's
as
right.
honest as possible, because then maybe they can use that information and grow.
Yes,
You know?
that's exactly what Funky Gold is that
Yeah.
we have to get better if we're going to continue to stay leaders in this community, especially a younger community that puts what I've seen a little bit more emphasis on what we'll call internet friends. People that you might never meet in real life.
Oh, sure.
But people in Funky Gold, I think some of us are more interested in meeting IRL friends, real friends that you see and you talk to.
Sure.
Funky Gold will throw events that are a little bit different, and that the goal is not to pack out a building, or the goal is not to sell as much alcohol as possible. Some of the Funky Gold events is like space to move around the venue and dance how you please. Quiet areas where you can really talk.
Right.
Beverages and food that are not booze.
Right.
Delightful surprises like cupcakes, merch, and just a welcoming and hostess like setting instead of a money-making venture.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like you kind of grew up in a party environment and you want to do that and carry it forward, but in a responsible way.
Yes, that's my goal.
Not a where your uncle falls in the pool way.
Yes, exactly.
That kind of thing.
Oh my.
Jumps off the roof into the pool.
Yes.
But that's cool. So, and then if anybody wants to reach out to you about, getting in the clique, what are the requirements? I guess, is it like you have to be in Dallas or what are the requirements?
Yes, first you have to be over 40 years of age.
Okay.
We have one 39 and a half
year there.
Kelly is another reason that I started the club. I've been dancing to Kelly since back in the Lizard Lounge days, and what you've been doing in your last 5 years has been super inspiring because I'm sort of watching it happen. Like I remember when you wrote Dark Room. I was there.
You and Susie Otto.
I was there. Yeah. You were using it as an example when we were taking our production class. And so it's been extremely exciting and appreciative for you to let me watch this happen, and it inspires me to go forward as well. And so, I'll be sending you some tracks soon because
I love it.
I like to work on multiple projects. What
I like to do. I'm just that kind of guy. Like I'll spend like an hour telling you my blueprint. And it's up to you. It's up to you to do that blueprint and to take notes. Obviously it takes some marketing, takes money, and the music business is called the music business for a reason. And so you have to not only be successful at getting a track to the finish line or having a team that can get that track to the finish line for you, but beyond that there is a business, a club business, and it is a business, and it can get real shady, a lot of people, I'm kind of like you in the way that I like to just that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to do that.
Yes.
I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to start a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, okay, cool. I'm just going to relaunch my label. Or, hey, I'm going to start. The first decision, I was like, oh, well, how do you tour as a touring DJ? And then I was like, oh, well, I just did the math. I was like, well, these guys are here because of that record. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll make a record.
Yes.
And then I did.
Yes. You're touring so much lately. I'm so proud of you. Funky Gold.
Well, I mean, I like to call it my third quarter comeback.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad to be here for it.
I want to do it. I want to, because the first go round, I didn't treat it as a job. Right. And I was basically, I was just partying and having a good time at my hobby. And I was doing I produced a lot of music, but I just kind of did the bare minimum to stay relevant.
Yes.
I wasn't really hustling or anything like that. Whereas now there's like, with the click of a mouse, I can have a song in the hand of, 400 DJs. And, that wasn't there. And back in the day, it was also with the vinyl, it was regional. because I would send, or the records would get pressed here in Dallas. They would go up to New York, and then New York would parse them out over the country, or, and then so only X amount would make it over to Europe. But
Right.
now, it's weird because we've had a couple of tracks that they play on Kiss FM in the Ukraine. So it's just
Right.
like, and then once you get that and build momentum, and then people, you just consistently, the harder you work, the luckier you are. You've heard that one,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And that's part of it. I mean, it's dedication, but it also takes money and a business plan, and being sober helps me realize that. I pick up on, I still put my foot in my mouth all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe am not the best with dealing, because I'm always full of jokes, and not everybody's that way. Some people
Right.
will take something the wrong way, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
it is what it is. And the thing that I also point out is, you can openly support, or you can quietly hate,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, I'm happy for any success that anybody has that's my friend. Even if they're not my friend, I'm happy to see people have successes.
Oh, yes.
So I would, because it's a miserable place to be in, to dwell in, to go, to sit there and go, well, why is that guy? Oh, that guy's, and to be that person. I mean, that being that person, to me, it would suck, frankly. And it's just like, and that's why I love what you're doing, because you're not that person, and you're a cheerleader for the underdog.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Cheerleader for life.
But yeah, I think it's cool that you foster, you're a fan of the underdog, much as myself. So I applaud you for that. And
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kelly.
yeah. So anything, where can the plug? Where can people get a hold of you? Where can people reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Find Funky Gold Network on Instagram, Funky Gold Network. And we have a killer YouTube channel where every single week, one of our pro DJs gives you a mix. Kelly has a super great house mix on there as well.
And I think, wasn't it just Vaz, right?
Yeah, we had Voz last week.
Love
and this week it's myself and Fonzel doing a Latin house mix in the house.
Nice.
So everybody gets to show their best work, and I also get to practice my camera skills because I have big dreams of making music videos just like the ones I saw on MTV Amped.
Nice.
So I've been, building up the equipment and working on my editing and other digital skills I need to make music videos for Funky Gold. That's my
Sweet.
goal. Yeah.
I love it. I love
And
it.
if you're
AI
over
is
40
helping
I,
a little bit. It will soon.
if it helps, I would definitely use it. I use it for
Yeah.
my professional job, and so I'm not against AI for sure.
Right.
But
Not
if
yet.
you're no, if you're over 40, if you're in the DFW and you want to join Funky Gold Network, reach out to me and I'll say, hey, send me a mix so we can get to know your musical style and mixing.
Right.
And also, we do expect a certain level of skills and mixing to be in the club, obviously, because
Sure.
we're the leaders of the community. And then I'll ask that you come to a Funky Gold event, meet us, and see if you like the culture, if you like
Right.
the mutual environment where you give and receive, if you're open to getting continuous feedback on the spot and you jive with us, then we would love to have you. We have lots of shows around town. Many of us are producers, leaders in the industry who book at several venues around DFW. And so I call it the coveted Funky Gold because I believe it brings quite a lot of value to the members.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I think it's good, and you're creating opportunity that wasn't necessarily there.
Right.
And that's a good thing. But I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, because I know that was a rough one, and not easy to process, being the older sister and being
Right.
the family member. So, hopefully this causes somebody to maybe reach out and get help, or maybe contact you and relate to you about it. you know?
Yeah, certainly. If anybody has guidance about losing a brother to
Yeah.
suicide, I sure would like to hear some tools and some next steps.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I got you. Well, I want to say thanks again for coming on, and
of
thanks
course.
again for being a person that's trying to be a part of the solution.
Yes,
You
of
know what I mean?
course. Yes.
In this human condition that we are in.
It is, isn't
Yeah.
it?
But anyway, so thanks for coming on. Oh yeah, be sure and like, subscribe, all that good stuff to the podcast. Follow Jess Baroness, follow Funky Gold on Instagram, and all that stuff. Remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.
Activate.